What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Johnny Mack here. Just wanted to give you a heads up that if you are looking for a community that is open to discussion as far as mentorship, conservation, the wild, becoming a better person, and all of that, there is a group for you on Facebook, and it is called Soul Seekers. Soul Seekers, we are all about making ourselves a better person. We're all about making sure hunting lasts for generations to come and encouraging people to get plugged in. Whether you are someone who has something to give or someone who needs to soak it up like a sponge, this is a community for you, and I strongly encourage you that if you're on Facebook to join Soul Seekers, and if you're not on Facebook, hop on there just for that group. It is only going to be as powerful as we all make it. And so just remember that life happens for you, it doesn't happen to you, and that you can't outgive good. You can't outgive good, people. I want you to understand that, and I want you to believe it, because when we believe that and we lead with courage and we lead with intention, lives are changed, lives are transformed, just like on this podcast, transformation through primal adventure. Be blessed. Enjoy this episode. Talk soon. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Soulful Hunter Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Mack. Through this podcast, I'm on a mission to transform lives through primal adventure and to spread my mission of mentorship as conservation. This podcast is powered by Washington Backcountry, a resource for all hunters, both new and old. To find out more about Washington Backcountry, go to wabackcountry.com or search for Washington Backcountry on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. The Soulful Hunter Podcast is also proudly presented by T&K Hunting Gear. If you haven't heard about T&K, then it's about time you do. I've been using T&K gear out in the field and on hunts and have fallen in love with their stuff. T&K is veteran-owned and 100% made in America using only American-made products. All their gear is covered under a lifetime warranty with no questions asked. If it breaks or fails, they will fix it or replace it for free. T&K is your resource for bino harnesses, bow slings, and a lot more amazing gear. For more information about T&K hunting gear, go to tnkhunting.com or search for them on Facebook and Instagram. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Freedom on and stay soulful. The Soulful Hunter Podcast is also proudly presented by the Crazy Elk Company. Based out of the state of Washington with products made in America, they are providing solutions with gear to problems you didn't even know you had. Their tag wallet is one of those solutions, and I had the pleasure of using it on all of my hunts this last year, and it is now a mainstay in my kill kit. The tag wallet is a water-resistant zippered pouch that comes with its own reusable zip ties to safely and securely store your notch tag for quick and easy access. For more information, go to crazyelkcompany.com and use the code SOULFUL with a capital S to save 20% at checkout. Be blessed, everyone, and as always, stay soulful. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Soulful Hunter Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Mack, and today I am joined by just a beautiful soul and a beautiful individual. And if it wasn't for the power of social media, I wouldn't even be aware of this story. And it's so, there are a lot of things that can be said about social media, the pros, the cons, all that. But at the end of the day, when it gets to celebrate stories like this and bring people into community together, you heard me say it on the podcast before, you can't outgive good. And this is one of those stories where we are truly loving fellow man. And it's a beautiful story. And I got Mike Burnside on here tonight to talk about his story and his journey along with his daughter, Kenzi. Mike, thank you so much for joining us for an episode.
Man, you're welcome. Glad to be here.
Oh, it's always a good time here at the Soulful Hunter, where we just get to talk about the things we love and purify our souls. So, Mike, tell the listeners a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and then we'll dive into what we're really here to talk about.
I'm Mike Burnside, pretty much a native Oakley. I'm in northeast Oklahoma, north of Tulsa. For those familiar where Tulsa is, I'm halfway between there and Kansas line. And for the most part, I've lived majority of my life in Oklahoma. Lived in New Mexico, northern New Mexico. Spent all my high school years in northern New Mexico, and spent some time in the work world out in Texas. But then finally settled back in this area. Uh, when it came time to settle down, raise a family, and there was other reasons why, I had to come back to take care of my mom. She was getting in poor health, so yeah, been here and just met my wife in Texas, and so we have a few arguments between Oklahoma and Texas, but yeah, we love where we live.
What is that? A little Red River rivalry?
Red River rivalry. Oh yeah, and we're I guess you'd consider the little schools. I went to Oklahoma State University. Janet went to Texas A&M University. We're the little brothers to the University of Texas, University of Oklahoma. But we've had our own rivalries going on too.
I love it. I love it. Well, for all of you who are wondering a little bit more about the story in which we're about to share, if you have ever, and I'm going to correlate this because I just got done talking to Mike about this. One of the things that I watched when I was probably a senior in high school when I first learned about the story of Rick and Dick Hoyt and the father who pushed his son in a wheelchair and did triathlons and just competed all over the world because his son loved to be active and his son couldn't run. And so he wanted to have his dad push him in a wheelchair in a 5K race. And then that started it. So Mike and his beautiful daughter, Kenzi, have an amazing story and a relationship that needs to be shared because there is what I truly believe is that, as much as we get caught up in life getting us down, we got to remember that life happens for us, not to us, and that there's always more on the other side, and to keep that positive attitude and to continue to give good out to the world. Because when we are who we are meant to be, that inner light shines, and that light shines bright in this world. So, Mike, take us through, tell us a little bit, tell the listeners all about, Kenzi, the growing up, all this stuff, to the point in which she said, I want to start hunting.
We Kenzi's 25 years old. We had triplets. We were, but that's after we moved back to Oklahoma. Got pregnant, had triplets, and we lost one son. We had three children: Hunter, Thor, and Kenzi. Lost Hunter after a few days, and about 16 months in, we're new parents. We don't know what the heck's going on. No manual. How do you raise kids? Well, people that we were, therapists, since they were premature, they'd come see us and everything, and they couldn't say, hey, Kenzi's got this or that. They kind of knew, but they left some books with us. Hey, you might want to read these. And because Kenzi, we have the twins there, and Thor, he's rolling over, he's crawling, doing all these things. But Kenzi's not doing that. But like I said, we thought, well, she's just behind. Well, they left us these books. We read these, and we're like, man, this is Kenzi spot on. And it's about cerebral palsy. And we took her to a neurologist. They through the medical system, we had to take her to a specialist. And within, I don't know, 20 minutes, he's like, hey, my diagnosis is she's got cerebral palsy, and she's severe to moderate. I mean, moderate to severe. And as a parent, it's it's a punch in the gut. It's like, man, because you're grieving. You're not grieving for a lost child, but you're grieving for lost dreams. Hey, she's not going to get married. She's not going to be able to play sports. She's not going to be able to do all these things. You don't need to say, and you're like, and we snapped out of that funk. As my wife always says, God was speaking to her through me, because I said, hey, this is our life. This isn't the life we chose. This is what we can make the best of it for Kenzi, or we can sit there and pour us. And we decided to do everything we could to make Kenzi's life, whatever she wanted to do, as long as we were physically able, we're going to help her.
Wow.
And I mean, she just, we've done. It's hard to believe the things she's done as she's grown up. I mean, she when she was young, she loved amusement parks, and we found amusement parks. As she got older, there's some, oh, you can't ride that ride, this or that. But while she was young, her favorite rides were roller coasters, and there was one in Texas at a Six Flags that was a double loop roller coaster, and I would cradle her arm, or her head in my arm. We'd go through that double loop roller coaster, and she'd want to ride it twice. They'd say, "Hey, she want to ride it again?" It's like, "Oh yeah." And so we ride. Then after she got a few years into that, she'd say, "Hold my hands up like those people," and so I'd have to hold her arm straight up while I'm cradling her head, and we'd go through the whole roller coaster with her hands straight up in the air, like those people are holding their hands above their heads on a roller coaster. And she just loved life. I said, for anybody that, and this is what I see with a lot of disabled, they, for anybody who could be mad at the world, man, they're usually the happiest people there are. I mean, they just love all the stuff. They don't have the, we've got to worry about the mortgages. We've got to worry about what are we going to do for work? What are we going to do for retirement? And that's, in one respect, that's bad, but they don't have that stuff holding back their, what they want to do. And as she grew, you know, I took her snowmobiling. I'd Velcro her to the front of me, and we'd snowmobile. We'd take a whitewater rafting. Uh, now she's involved in races, kind of like the Team Hoyt, where they have a running chair, and there's volunteers. They've run, people who are serious runners. I mean, that's all they do. They get to the point in life, hey, I want to do something else in my life instead of just run. Well, they push these disabled individuals in these chairs. Kenzi's done marathons. I mean, she's been in that chair for 6.5 hours for one marathon, while this team of 3 to 4 people will switch out and push her during the whole marathon. And I mean, you talk about somebody who's never been able to have we don't I'm not a runner. I mean, I run, but it doesn't thrill me. But for those who never been able to do it, they can feel that wind in their face, and they're going along they just love it. But when she was about 14 years old, we had gone to the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. We started Thorn Kenzi when they're about 3 years old. And up until COVID last year and this year, she had never missed a Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation banquet, here in Tulsa. And so the committee members saw her grow up. They saw her, every year. It's just like, hey, how are you? And they just loved seeing her, and she loved going. So she won a used shotgun when she was 14. And they said, man, if she wants to go turkey hunting, we'll take her. We'll help her out. So she didn't get to do that year. Kenzi is in a wheelchair. She's confined to a wheelchair. She has some fine motor skills. She can grab, certain objects. But, she's depending on a caregiver helping her with everything in the day-to-day activities. Well, during that, she's had, multiple surgeries. Well, that year when she won the shotgun, she was scheduled for having double rods put in her back. I mean, they go along from her tailbone up to her neck, and they will put rods along both sides of her spine because she'll get so much curvature from sitting in that wheelchair, scoliosis and everything, that she was scheduled for that. So we said, well, let's try next year. So when she was 15, we got with the banquet members, the chairman, and they set up a place for her to go turkey hunt. And it takes a small team to pull it off. At that time we were I was not, I didn't know how to pull that off. They ended up, there was, counting Kenzi, there were 7 of us and they had set up ground blinds. We got there 4:30 in the morning, and we set up. Well, she was there for 4.5 hours. The gobblers finally came in around 10 o'clock that morning. we're under a wind warning here in Oklahoma. I mean, the wind was just howling. The worst possible time you could hope a turkey hunt. But those two gobblers came in. She shot one, and the excitement on the video was just, I mean, she's like, I got him, I got him, I got him, and she was hollering for mom, I got him. And we had to have turkey that night. I came home and she's like, I want turkey. So we fixed part of her turkey that night. I said the other thing that has developed, I didn't really understand it until it happened. But she's never physically been able to provide for the family. She can't, she hadn't been able to work, do things for the family, but for her to be able to put food on the table, man, that is huge. The self-empowerment, accomplishment, and she just, that has just ate her up. She's proud that she can do that. And so that's the first hunt we went on, was that turkey hunt when she was 15. We got into high school years, her brother, we were doing all the activities to him, football and everything like that. She had her own activities, but it never really crossed my mind, hey, let's just keep this hunting thing going. And, I'd go hunting with Thor. We'd go do the youth hunts, do all that stuff. Well, when I asked her, she was going to go hunting with a foundation, about 4 years ago. And a guy told me about it. And I didn't know what those things were possible, all the adaptive equipment that you could help pull this off. Well, I asked her, I said, even if you don't go hunting this fall with a foundation, because we didn't know if it's funny that I asked her, hey, what do you want to hunt? We went through all the animals because the foundation said, we'll take her hunting, whatever she wants to hunt.
And is this Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation that was doing
this? This is actually a foundation called Holy Pursuits Dream Foundation. And all they do is take kids with life-threatening illnesses, long-term disabilities or problems. They take them on their dream hunt, whatever that is. If it's turkey, if it's mule deer. And so I went through everything with Kenzi. Hey, these are different animals. She settled on mule deer. She wanted to go mule deer hunting. And that was late in the summer. I told her, I said, I don't know if we can pull it off. And that's what the foundation said, trying to get it set up, all the logistics. And so I said, even if we don't get to go hunting with them, do you want to go hunting with Dad on our property? We have 80 acres. I said, I can set it up. You and I will go hunting. And she said, yeah. I mean, it's her and I did the hunter's education online, because I'm hunting with her. But, hey, let's go ahead and get the hunter's education, everything, do it just like. And the video of her, when I videoed her when she got her certificate, she was so excited. I mean, she was over the top excited. Again, that she's she can actually do that.
Yeah.
And so we ended up, they couldn't do the mule deer hunt that year. They couldn't get the logistics all set up. But I said, okay, we're going to go deer hunting. So I fixed up blinds. I got everything ready to take her. And in the meantime, that fall, the foundation called, and they had a child that had gotten sick that was scheduled for a hunt. He couldn't make the hunt. And we could go whitetail deer hunting in Illinois. And it'd be crossbow right at Thanksgiving. And so we said, yeah, we'll do that. They said, no, we still want to take her on a mule deer hunt. That'll be next year, but we're going to take her on the whitetail hunt. So we went up there. That was right when our season was starting here, our firearm season. And I told her, as soon as we get back, we'll deer hunt here. We went to Illinois, and a lot of people say, well, it's an easy hunt when you do something like that. Well, she hunted just like anybody would. I'd get her up. We'd leave the house at the lodge. They had a lodge up there. We leave at 4:30. We drive about 45 minutes to the blind, go get in a blind, and we change blinds a couple times over the 3 days before Thanksgiving. And, like anything, well, deer should be moving. Deer weren't moving. She had an either sex tag. And the last evening, the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, a group of does, about five does and fawns, came through this edge of the timber where we were at, and she shot a doe. And when I say she shot it, like I said, it takes a team. There's one man aiming the crossbow. She uses a vacuum air actuator. She's got a vacuum tube. It's attached to the trigger guard of the crossbow rifle. And that's the only way to fire that weapon. When she sucks on that vacuum tube, it pushes against that trigger. It's got a battery. It's a whole system. It goes to a battery. It pushes the trigger. And so she shot it. There's one guy aiming. Me at that hunt, I was helping her with a vacuum tube and the safety. And, she was just so thrilled that she put a doe on the table for us to eat.
Wow.
And they processed it that night. They got a processor. Hey, let's get it cut up. And the next morning on Thanksgiving Day, we're driving back home to Oklahoma. Took us all day to get here. Got home Thanksgiving night. On Friday afternoon, we had to fix her deer meat. And she's like, I want deer.
Beautiful.
And it has to be hers. She'll say, is this my meat? Is this my deer or fish or whatever?
Yeah.
And so we fixed the deer. The next week we hunted, and there was times where she'd say, no, I don't want to hunt today. And we'd go out, we'd hunt the next to the last evening on a Saturday evening. I asked her, she goes, yeah, let's go hunting. And so we went out there. She said, this is my last night. I don't want to hunt anymore after this. And I was like, okay, this is it. I didn't want to push her. Well, it was a small 8-point, small basket rack 8-point. Ended up coming through. There were some does feeding out in front of us, and came through. And she was just, when she shot, she was over the top excited. And that spring, we bought our own air actuator system. I was like, this is the way it's going to be in the future. And so during the fall, her, my wife, Janet, and myself, we'd go set up in a ground line. I'm aiming the rifle. Janet's helping with the vacuum tube and the safety. And Kenzi's doing her part, aiming everything. Firing the rifle. And we've also got it set up now. We've progressed. That's the main part of the system. But if for those who are familiar with a Tacticam that attaches, through the scope or to the barrel, well, we got that to where it will stream wirelessly because it's on Wi-Fi. We stream it to a tablet, and she can see the action right there in front of her. It's where we just recently did a turkey hunt, and I'd ask her, hey, you want to shoot that turkey? She's like, no, I want to wait. And so she's seeing the action that might be out there a ways or a couple hundred yards during rifle season, and she can make that decision. Yeah, I want to shoot that one, or I want to wait.
Man, so powerful. So powerful.
She just, it was, as a dad, that first time when her and I were rifle hunting in that ground blind, I've got on audio somewhere. I had a phone that I just turned on audio, and we were talking. We just, during the afternoon, talk about this and that. And something came up about hunting. And she said, when I was young, she calls Thor, her brother, Bubba. A lot of times she'll say Bubba. And she said, when I was young, you were always taking Bubba hunting. And I always wondered when my turn was. Mm-hmm. And she said, this is my turn. And I was like, as a dad, that hit me. I was like, man, she's, I want to do this with her as long as she wants to do it.
That's absolutely incredible. And so this was 14 she won the shotgun at the RMEF banquet. Did she ever talk to you about like, hey, I want to hunt? Or is it just like what you and Thor were doing and I want to be with the group? Or did she ever find any identity in hunting versus any other activity in which she was doing?
It's probably, I just don't, I was always doing it with Thor, and it never crossed my mind, hey, she wants to do it. It might take a different way, but it's more me. I think if I would ask her, but she was doing, school choir. We had a great school that the choir teacher, hey, she wants to sing, we're going to have her in the choir. You know, there for a while, she did cheerleading. They're like, yeah, she can be on the side until they got into tryouts. We're like, nope, we want to do that. But as she was younger, she would do all those activities. So she was doing her own. She was going her own avenue. But I think if I would have asked her, she would have probably said, yeah, in a heartbeat.
Man.
It's just that I didn't think about asking her, and I feel bad about missing those years. But that's just the way life was. The time wasn't right. Let me put it that way.
I believe in timing. It's not time yet. There's things that need to be said, things that need to happen, and yet the timing needs to be correct in order to pursue it or to advance it. So, as a father, what is it like? What? I mean, I'm sure it's indescribable, really. But what are the best words that you could put into place to be with your daughter doing these experiences?
Man, it's like most of us, get to at some point in our life. I mean, I've been fortunate. I've hunted anywhere and everywhere, and I hunted all my lifetime. But I got to the point where, I'm going hunting. I mean, it's just something that we're doing this fall. I mean, it wasn't, you kind of lost that excitement, that edge, that, hey, you've established a pattern. Well, when she does it, her excitement is so over the top that it just brings you back to this is why I started hunting.
Yeah.
I had forgotten how much you can love something because I mean I always say, man, she can't top this. I mean, this is just because she is just so excited when she does it. The next hunt, it's exact same. I mean, it's just like every time she's excited. And as a dad, to be able to provide that experience for her, you know, yeah, I'd miss hunting if I didn't do it anymore. But if this is all I did was help her hunt, yeah, just to see what empowerment it gives her and how much she loves the outdoors, how much she loves life, it'd be hard to beat. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a awesome experience.
What does Kenzie say about hunting? And obviously,
You
she
know,
fishes as well. I've seen, through your social media, you see that she's out fishing you. And
oh
then,
yeah, and she will. There's some videos I've got where she will exactly let you know. I've got one video where she tells me I beat you 6-1.
yeah,
I mean, she will just tell you right up. Her biggest deal. And I tell people, she's not caught up. A good thing she's from social media. She's not caught up. And man, I killed a 10 point. I killed a 12 point. Man, look how many. This deer is 180 inches. For her, fill the freezer. I mean, like I said, that empowerment, the accomplishment. I mean, she's excited when she gets a buck. I mean, yeah, she's over the top. I mean, she knows that difference that hey, I killed a nice buck, versus I got a doe. But any one of them, I mean, she realizes the importance of hey, I'm doing something for the family
yeah.
or community. She has been really good. I started her out. We have a local food pantry that's operated through a church, and as we would, we'd have excess deer that we'd kill during the year. The whole family, you know, myself, Janet, Thor, and some of Kenzi's. Like, well, we have too much that we've got enough that we can share with somebody. So we get it processed, and I'd have Kenzi go down there with me, and I was like, okay, do you want to donate your deer? She's like, yeah. And I mean, when she just lights up when she's down there, and they, of course, they'll talk to her about it. Man, thank you so much for donating this meat, this and that, and that has helped her too, knowing that she's helping somebody in the community by giving them food.
It's so powerful, and I think it's often lost. And this is why I talk about my mission of mentorship is conservation. Is that there is this trajectory of a hunter that I've experienced in my short time because this coming fall is only going to be my 7th season hunting. And for me, it was okay, I want to kill an animal. Or it started out, I want to see an animal, then I want to kill an animal, then I want to kill a mature animal and a variety of animals. And really, that's really awesome. But the power lies in when you get to support somebody when they do it, because those emotions, man, you can't beat them. When you get to have that experience with somebody who's new or somebody who is really overcoming something to achieve that accomplishment, man, you can't outgive good, and there's no better feeling.
Oh yeah, and it is like you said. To see a kid, no matter who it is, go out and that excitement that hey, I did this on my own, or that I'm providing, or look at this buck I got, or I mean that is it. You cannot beat that feeling of being there when that even a person, adult onset hunter, it's like, man, they're seeing that, hey, I can actually do this. I can go out in the woods and do this. Yeah, I mean, mentorship, man, it's you can't talk enough about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Um, if Kenzi was to be on this podcast with us, what would she say?
Oh, she'd fill the freezer. I would say that is her tagline. Um, when I first asked her that question, when I was asking if she wanted to go hunting that fall,
Mm-hmm.
her response was, one of the responses was, "Can I fill the freezer like you?" And it hadn't even registered to me, but I was like me. She's like, "Yeah, when you fill the freezer." Well, I'd said that before. Yeah, I filled the freezer this year. That would be the first thing she'll say, and she'll say, when you ask her, "Well, what's it, Kenzie? What does it mean to you?" I think she'd say, that I'm helping the family, helping the community. It makes me feel good. It empowers me. Um, that I'm able to, go do those things.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's I will say, for her, it's a major undertaking. I mean, there's no two ways about it. She's not like us to where, hey, we get cold, let's put on extra layers of extra layers of clothes. She's got to tell somebody, man, I'm cold, and I've got to put those extra layers on. Somebody's got to put those on for me, or I can't see. My cap's coming down. Or she's got to have somebody to do those things for her. But she'll go right out there, and she can't. And she also can't keep herself occupied. Hey man, I'm not seeing any animals. I'm gonna just look at the trees. Look over here, look on the hillside, look for animals, whatever's going on. Well, she has to have that help. But by doing that Tacticam, I can actually scan areas. Bring in stuff that she's never seen before. Raccoons going along a hillside, or a coyote, or uh, anything like that. That stuff that just brings it all right to her.
I gotta just tell you, Kenzi's putting me in check right now because I went spring turkey hunting for the first time this year, and I was like, dude, this is so hard to sit here and just like stare at like this short. And here I am being like totally consumed in my own head game of weakness. And here Kenzi is, she can't even change her point of view, and she's still out there just doing it. Just being and wow, talk about a gut check and a reality check of like, okay, get over yourself. She's got to have the toughest mental head game of any hunter I've ever met to be able to just do this. And I've seen the weather that you're showing, some of the stuff that you're out there hunting in. It's no cakewalk. It's not 70
Oh yeah.
degrees and sunny.
She's been in on our mule deer hunt. We went to Wyoming for mule deer hunt. We're under a blizzard warning. She's out there in a ground blind with us. Winds whipping through there, snow is blowing, and it's like, and we'll tell her. I mean, she's like the rest of us. She'll complain. I mean, I'm not going to say how she'll sit there and say, "Man, can we go?" I was like, "No, we can't go yet." But she's just stuck it out. I mean, I'll give her credit. It doesn't matter what the weather conditions have. She will stay there. You
That's so
know, uh,
cool.
and like you said, the mental game to be able to, you got to stay in this zone. You can't go, you can't look here, can't look there. But by having that tact cam, that's really helped. Like I said, she can actually see what's going on in the world right now on a tablet because we'll have that tablet mounted, hanging over, probably about 7 inches to 12 inches in front of her, and she can see what's going on out in the outside world. And I know that has to help.
Oh man, so cool. So Friedrich Nietzsche, he said, "He who has a why can endure anyhow." And I feel like that is a very apropos quote for Kenzi and also you and everything that you guys go through. Saying for Kenzi to say, "Fill the freezer." Hey, fill the freezer, and to have a why. The why is that she wants to contribute. She wants to provide. She wants to be a part of it. That it doesn't matter the how, because that why is strong enough. And then as a father, I would imagine it's the same thing because you want that, you want it to be there for her as well. I truly believe, like, this is why I wanted to have you on and share this story because it's so powerful. And I always talk about inward reflection leads to outward correction. And stories like this, if they don't cause you to pause and reflect, man, I don't know, you go check yourself because really, like, straight gut punch. There are things that people just constantly get down on themselves about and self-talk and self-pity and all these things. And yet we are so blessed to be able to live life and then to have our perspective to make life whatever it is. I always talk about, being the creator of your own existence. Each moment is an opportunity to better yourself. And you and Kenzi's story is like the epitome of living that. And it's really nice to hear. It's refreshing.
No, thanks. Like you said, it's that we all have that choice. Hey, we can sit there and say, man, my life sucks. I'm not seeing any animals. I'm not seeing, I didn't kill the 180-inch buck this year. It's like, man, we're getting to go out. We can go out and go hunting. We can increase, the and like I know the journey is more of the experience, more of the reward anymore. What you learn along the way, what you're able to do for somebody else. I mean, that's it's powerful that you're actually able to help somebody achieve their dreams.
Hmm.
And Kenzie's, we've gone on a lot of hunts, fishing trips where there's been people to help us. Like I said, I mean, it takes a team to pull this off. Uh, a lot of, and I'm not going to say all of them because there's a lot of them who have been, they've done these sort of hunts and fishing trips before. But I know I would be the same way. I go into this like, man, I'm going to help this girl. Man, good on me. I'm going to help her pull this off and this and that. Well, at the end of the whole experience, I will be willing to bet that 99% of those guys or women will tell you, man, I was helped a lot more than I helped her.
Mm.
Just like you said, seeing that how much she loves it, how much the experience is, and what it's done for her, and her journey. That it makes you feel good. I mean, there's no two ways about it. That this is what hunting, mentorship, all that's everything rolled into one. This is what it's all about.
Yeah.
You know,
What words of advice do you have for any parents out there who might come across this episode and you know, have knowledge of people that have children that are disabled or have their own or any sort of circumstance in which life could throw that creates a difficulty? What words of advice do you have for
you know, uh, of course, don't give up. Don't. Yeah, we're all going to be caught up in the feeling that we're grieving. Yeah, those lost dreams. Yeah, that's I. And what I started saying years ago. Dreams are a moving target. You got a dartboard. This year, this year it's over in this corner of the room. Next year it's over in that other corner of the room. You're hitting different places. Uh, Find those. There's so many resources out there. People, things that I don't. I'm still learning stuff all the time. I wish I would have known a lot of these things back 10, 15 years ago, and we would have started so much younger because, man, like you can imagine, as a dad, I don't know I don't know these things are available, but if you get locked in with the right group of people, man, hey, you can do this, you can take her here, all these sort of things. Don't give up. I mean, there's a ton of resources out there if you can just get locked in with the right people. Social media, I will say, from that aspect of it, it's great. I mean, you can do a hashtag search for disabled hunting, disabled hunter, and by doing that, you're going to find, hey, this guy has this sort of equipment, or this is how he does it. You know, there's just don't give up on your kids. They're going to outperform probably most dreams you could ever have for them. I mean, Kenzi, like I said, that she has outperformed most dreams that I could ever, I would have ever thought she could accomplish.
Yeah.
Uh, and couldn't be prouder for what she's done. I mean, whether we're fishing, hunting, just, I mean, it's just her love of the outdoors. Now I understand there could be those sources where the resources aren't there. The child doesn't love the outdoors like Kenzi does, but there's other avenues. Find something that child, and there's some sort of resources for whatever activity it is. It just has to do some searching, uncovering the layers.
Man, that's awesome. Powerful, powerful stuff. Mike, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing the story of you and Kenzi. How can people find you? How can people reach out to you, whether it's questions or I don't know, any sort of dialogue? Maybe they're searching for something. Maybe they want some of their own community to connect with. How do they find you?
On Instagram, I'm under @Burnside 4141, and then under on Facebook, I'm just under Mike Burnside.
Awesome.
And you'll see my profile picture has Kenzi and I in the picture. That, like I said, I've always wanted, if I can help one person, I want to share Kenzi's story to hopefully show others with disabilities. I didn't know that was possible. Just like you're talking about, if they could see somebody doing that, it's like, man, I didn't know you could do that. Then we've done something. I want to increase that, people being able to get out in the outdoors, doing those activities, and hopefully Kenzi will be a catalyst to help some of that happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mike, thank you so much. Be blessed. Tell Kenzi that we are rooting for her in the future and really proud of her and everything that she's done. And what lies in store for this fall? Do you guys have any plans?
Well, we're here in just a few weeks. We're going to, and she doesn't know one thing about Kenzi. It's just like any other person. If you say, hey, we're going here, man, every day, when are we going? When are we going? When are we going? I mean, she'll drive you nuts. Well, here in a few weeks, and we haven't told her about this, we're going to take her offshore fishing in the Gulf.
Oh, cool.
And, that will be, the experience of her catching a big fish. I took her paddle fishing last September. And for those who don't know what paddlefish are, they're a prehistoric fish. They're in this part of the country. Her biggest one was about 50 pounds. And she was over the top excited on that. And so I can just imagine if she catches some of the saltwater species, there's no telling what it'll be like.
Awesome.
And we've got this fall I'm taking her on I don't know exactly what hunt it is right now. I mean, it should be I'm thinking it might be a Minnesota whitetail deer hunt. We were supposed to do it with a foundation last fall, and it got postponed. I was telling you earlier, first day of our archery season last year, I was on a ladder, just regular extension ladder. Something happened. I fell off and I broke my hip. So we didn't get to do any hunting last fall, So, and I felt bad. I mean, that hunt was supposed to happen. Oh, like 3 weeks after I did that, and I felt bad. But Kenzi, the caring person she is, I mean, she's like, "No, it's okay, Dad. We'll, she just wanted to take care of me, be here for me, and so we got that's got rescheduled for this October. We've got another hunt that I think will be down in Texas. I'm not sure what yet. That's still part of one of the surprises that's coming up for her. And she just came off a turkey hunt in Texas. She got a couple of gobblers about, I think that's probably 3 to 4 weeks now. A group called Disabled Outdoorsmen USA. We've been trying to hook up schedules for the past few years. Finally got to meet up this year. We're going to go last year. Pandemic canceled it. Well, if you can imagine, 3 of us in a small ground blind turkey hunting, and she got 2 gobblers. I mean, it's that's an awesome video to watch because Weston, who was doing the shooting, he had never turkey hunted before, and I'm there helping Kenzi, and the action was, I mean, if you ever had dreamed of how good a turkey hunt could happen, that's exactly what happened. They came off, and turkeys were coming from everywhere, and it was over. It was over just a little while after daylight. It's like, wow, I've never had a turkey hunt like that. But so yeah, she's got we've got those. We've got her offshore fishing trip, and then she'll have a couple hunts. Plus, her and I and Mom will be hunting on our property this fall too for whitetail deer.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear how everything turns out. Mike, thank you so much for coming on, sharing the story. Really appreciate it. Be blessed, and just wanna just say thank you so much for sharing your story once more. Really, it means a lot. Listeners, don't forget, if you want to know more about Kenzi and her story, go check out Mike's Instagram, as there's a lot of cool videos and pictures and posts that share a lot of the stories on there that you can see. Get to know Kenzi a little bit. Reach out to Mike. Awesome dude. Everybody, thank you for tuning into this episode. Freedom on, and as always, stay soulful. If you enjoyed today's podcast, I'd love it if you could go ahead and give this a rating as well as subscribe. Also, you can check us out on Instagram under the Soulful Hunter Podcast. Make sure to tag us in pictures and posts and use the hashtag Soulful Hunter. To find out more about the Soulful Hunter Podcast, go to soulfulhunter.com and be sure to follow the podcast, as we are going to be bringing you a lot of great information, insight, and changing lives through primal adventure. I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. Stay tuned and stay soulful.